Today's topic is how consciousness challenges the nature of the self and reality. As we progress on the journey from the ordinary material mind to the spiritual mind or the quantum mind, are we beginning to focus our consciousness more on the world of energy, which is 95%, or are we still oriented towards the physical world we see and touch? We are always looking at the world either through the eyes of the material mind ego, where all we see is matter and particle, or we are using our inner spirit mind, where everything is transformed back into wave. Do we see particle, matter, physical form, the macro, or do we see wave, energy, or the micro of infinite possibilities? Particles can be separated. Our bodies can be separated. But energy puts us all back together. Because in the unseen world of energy, nothing is separate. Everything is a field with no borders to it. And using our quantum vision, our energies would be visible to all of us, and we would see a different world altogether. We would see oneness instead of separate forms. And with what eyes do we see the experiences and challenges we face on a day-to-day basis? Do we use the eyes of the material mind to see particle? Or do we use the eyes of the spirit mind to see wave that transforms physical chaos, anxiety, fear, and scarcity into inner wave of peace, love, and abundance? Do we focus on the relative of the ever-changing situations and people's behaviors that keep changing with the eyes of the material mind that keeps us in fear and scarcity? Or do we see this chaos with the eyes of the inner spirit mind that makes us remain peaceful and abundant amidst the turmoil we face? Particles surrounding us can be seen in such a way that it transforms the very fabric of our reality. We are seeing incorrectly every time we see bodies made of particles instead of waves of peace, love, and abundance. When our thoughts about the world and the bodies it contains are in that still, silent sanctuary, inner hermitage within, our eyes get the opportunity to open and transform the world of physical particles into waves of eternal peace, love, and abundance. And we have this incredible power of perceiving wave instead of particle within us in this inner sanctuary. And we have to evolve beyond the ordinary egoic self towards the quantum self to perceive the world from a wider perspective so as to tap into the infinite possibilities of the quantum realm of wave. And when this new understanding of reality begins to sink into our worldview, it has the power to transform every area of our lives. The build of a human starts with the unseen quantum energy, and the human is more than we can imagine. You are a mystery. As humans, we too are energy that's visible. And there is this kind of human infused with the tiniest strong forces within the quantum realm at the subatomic level operating differently as wave. And we are more powerful the smaller we become. We unlock the soul's mysteries when we are aware of the tiniest strong forces within us and perceive ourselves as boundless beyond space and time and perceive ourselves as wave. That's when we become a mystery. In weekend 2, we saw that quantum consciousness challenges our understanding of the relationship between free will and moral responsibility. Today, we explore how consciousness challenges the nature of the self as we see the self through the lens of the quantum principles and how the self navigates the waves of reality in the challenges we face. We are on a pilgrimage of the self, a pilgrimage of the soul, a pilgrimage of the mind or psyche, shifting from the ordinary mind to the quantum mind. And the egoic self evolves to the quantum self that is non-local and interconnected, transcending classical notions of individuality. The self that can exist in multiple states simultaneously, challenging the traditional notions of a fixed singular self. We are getting into the self that is entangled with the universe, suggesting a fundamental interconnectedness. So, what is this quantum self that makes us a mystery? The quantum self is the intersection of our material mind of the physical macro world and the spiritual mind of the micro energy quantum world. So in this realm, we function as quantum selves. And each one of us is a quantum self, a ship in the vast ocean of life, navigating the waves of reality we are faced with every day, in which we have to particularly function as waves if we are to become sovereign over the material, physical world and its changing reality. We are particle and wave. And the particles of a physical body obey quantum principles when we are a field of undifferentiated infinite possibilities for modes of knowing and experience. Wave-like consciousness relates us all together as a whole. We are relational to the wider whole when we are in this undifferentiated presence of the now magical moment of the I am. This quantum self exists in multiple states at once, physically in one location as you listen to this presentation, while consciousness or the wave part of you is present in another virtual reality where you are beginning to see your future self implementing the principles you are learning. To tap into our quantum self, our ego has to merge with our higher self beyond all identity. Are you aware that there are endless worlds with countless versions of you? And this is what makes you a mystery. Your quantum self behaves differently from your ordinary self. You are not a line. You are a network of possibilities. You are not confined to a single timeline. Every moment exists, past, present, and future exist in the present moment. The past part of you as a child exists in the same moment as the future self as an old person. You don't exist at a single point. You are a space-time being. You are a multi-dimensional being. You are a mystery. The child version of you exists in another parallel world as an alternative version of you, and your future old age exists in another parallel world. Again, past, present, and future exist in the now moment of the now. A future version of you is already present there, waiting for you to catch up with it. You are not confined to one linear reality. There is an infinite number of parallel universes, as infinity has no borders, and you happen to live in one of them. You exist in more than one place at a time. You are a particle of matter. And there are infinite versions of you making different decisions, each experiencing different situations, each with a body mind suited to them as entangled potentials in the world of infinite possibilities. And you have access to all of them. There is a version of you already successful in a certain career, and every version of you, every thought exists already in one of the alternative versions. You live in a multiverse, in many worlds, in alternative parallels and branches, and there are multiple copies of you living in these multiple worlds. And why? We will explain this later. These versions of you in different worlds or realities, each with a different life story, is based on the different choices made at various points in your life. And all these happen at once. There is a theory of the nature of the quantum self that proves these versions of you in different alternate worlds. And it is called the many worlds interpretation by Hugh Everett. Within the field in the cosmos, there are infinite versions of everything, including different versions of yourself, different versions of your thoughts and emotions and actions, all existing at once, waiting for you to observe them, and your choice landing on one of the versions chosen. Which version do you choose? All potential realities exist simultaneously in different worlds. We only experience one of these branches consistent with our observation and choice. Parallel worlds we can't see reside a subatomic distance away, closer to us than our own skin. And there are many duplicates of us experiencing different realities, the possibility of living within others' minds, and all possible states in separate worlds exists in parallel worlds without interacting until you make a choice. When the quantum microsystems interact with the macro world through a choice, the universe splits into multiple copies, multiple branches, each representing a different possible outcome of the interaction in a parallel world. and all possible outcomes are physically realized, each in its own world or branch. And we simultaneously experience multiple realities encompassing numerous past lives and future lives. In the end, it's all about who you want to become and who you are becoming. You might be wondering why right now, what would have happened if you had moved to a different city, if you had taken a different career, if you had pursued different hobbies, or had a different relationship. You may imagine paths you didn't take, or you may even try to picture what would happen if you had chosen a different place to live in. And every possible quantum outcome creates a different world where you will have made a different choice. So different versions of you in other branches or universes are distinct, independent individuals who share a common past up to the point of divergence where a choice was made. And each choice path leads us to where we are destined to be. The soul focuses on nodes, those choice points, or those source foundations. In another dimension, you took a different choice, and each choice breaks off into another reality. We will explain this in a moment. So each time a choice presents itself, a source foundation is created. And there are as many source foundations in your life as there are opportunities for choice. Source foundations are branches of the road we happen to be on. And with each choice, our reality splits off into another parallel dimension. A source foundation is a point of time or a specific event that opens us up to a choice. And as this choice is involved, there are divisions in our life events that leave the mainstream path and have far-reaching effects. That fork in the road of life we are on was taking us to a particular place. And we chose a branch of the road that got us right here where we are right now. And the choice we make becomes a turning point of one of the major factors of our life. Who are you choosing to become? Different people also form their own versions of you in their own mind based on their unique experiences with you. There is a version of you that exists in somebody's mind. How this particular person sees you will be different from how another person sees you. And you are perceived differently by your family, by your friends, by co-workers, by strangers, and different versions of you are living in their minds already. And there is also your own internal image of yourself that keeps shifting over time. It's getting interesting, isn't it? So ask yourself this question. How many folks in the road have you faced? Those choices that you have made that have formed different versions of you in the different worlds. For example, at the age of 3, when you lost your parents and had to go live with your grandmom, a version of you still with your parents continued to reside in a different dimension. And that version of you living with your grandmother is in another dimension. You have grown up and you made a different choice to choose cloistered life, and another version of you that took a different path. So there is a version of you that later decided to live cloistered life. You went and you got married. Let's say you aborted your baby. There is that version of you living with your baby in a different world. And there is this other version of you that is living without your baby and without the ability of having any other children. I hope we have understood that. How there can be different versions of ourselves depending on the different choices that we have made. Let's now delve into the quantum self as defined by Dana Zohar. Zohar argues that the insights of modern physics can illuminate the concept of the quantum self. And she addresses how the new physics provides a basis by which our consciousness might continue to live beyond death. And she talks about how the material world can impinge on our sense of self, whether there is a subatomic wellspring from which our creativity and empathy with others and our feelings of unity originate. And she shows how the vitality of the new physics combats the alienation and fragmentation and sees all of us as one. Let's now explore deeply the connection of physical existence and our consciousness, the quantum world and our personal reality. The quantum self theorizes the connection between the quantum world and our personal reality. And this is how the quantum self navigates the realms of reality. We perceive trials from a higher perspective to play the material physical world game to our advantage. How wonderful life would be to see the world and humanity through the lens of a higher thrival consciousness instead of a limited view of the world through the lens of the low consciousness of survival. How do we respond to chaos in an awakened way and get into thrival in a world of chaos? The chaos in the world creates a unique opportunity for growth to embrace the inherent wholeness of the now, even while acknowledging the very real problems that we face. And this is a quote from Craig Hamilton. A trial is a lesson in disguise. And we have to stay in our tranquil core amidst life's trials so as to move through the turbulent times to expand into a higher version of ourselves to see the gold in the trial we are experiencing. Most times we might be asking ourselves and not knowing why trials happen to us. But one thing is for sure, every time you find yourself facing the hardest challenges, tell yourself that one thing is sure, that something bigger than you is going to come out of this challenge. Tell yourself that you are not going through this challenge for nothing. Tell yourself that you have to elevate your vibrational frequency because in the dark moments of the night, the path is already laid out clear. If we pause when we are in such trials and tribulations, the divine comes closer to us. It gets into our aura and it transmits a feeling that we are not alone in this. And surely there is something bigger than the trial. And this trial is a chance to open up our lens to see the higher perspective of the chaos that we are going through, where we see the challenge as something more than this physical reality. And so we can be able to relax about the challenge and not fret over the challenge and not panic over the challenge and not look at it with a logical mind and not resisting it but flowing through that battle, reforming it, elevating it rather than seeing it with the eyes of fear. So are we ready to alter the version of reality and enlighten situations where we can have insights that allow us to break loose from the pattern of ordinary thought and perceive life in a new light? What we have always believed to be true might be an illusion created by our mind. Oh, I'm so poor. I don't have money to my name. That might not be true because you are already abundant on the inside. We adjust our lens to fit a particular reality. We can build our own reality with a different set of perceptions, just like particles choose appearance as dictated by how we observe them, shaping human attitudes and perception that impact how we see ourselves and how we see others and how we see our situations and challenges and other people's behaviors. Quantum or spiritual reality is a domain of possibility where all solutions already exist at once, no matter what it is that we are going through. What arises in any scenario is determined by how we perceive it, how we observe it, and we can access the source of life in the field, in our mystery field, in the silent place where the human has the ability to develop possibilities so that we don't feel trapped by circumstances. Let's look at the nature of the self and reality, the true nature of reality, the reality and perception. The human world is affected by how we interpret events. It is not what happens to us that causes us suffering. It is the meaning and interpretation we give to what happens to us. So perception is what we are fully aware of. And based on mental state, human perception can alter from time to time, and it can be thought of as both subjective or objective. And the physical material earth game that we play as multidimensional beings or quantum selves depends on whether we are seeing wave or whether we are seeing particle. So how do we continue to live in life's dream created by the thinking mind and not awaken to the truth of who we truly are as quantum selves and the true nature of reality? New dimensions have to open up within the game of life. We get caught up in our daily life, the life of the dream that we are thinking. We get caught up in our daily life, the dream the thinking world creates for us. Thoughts spur the imagination, and we start thinking a thought. We start imagining a situation that could happen. We begin catastrophizing the ever-changing issues, what somebody said, how they have said it. And this becomes a dream world we are dreaming in the middle of our waking life. We are going through the world, our mind in some imagined reality we are thinking about. And that's what makes life a dream. Awakening, our quantum self is waking back to the now present moment and stepping out of the dream that thoughts create. Reality is a game our souls play, and the goal is to wake up. If we don't wake up in this lifetime, we will play it again until we finish the game. So awakening, realizing awakeness is waking from the dream of our character in the play of life. And through our characters, we experience the world in all its duality, beauty and ugliness, life and death, good and bad, war and peace, light and darkness, left and right, success and failure. Around and around and around we go fixated on the characters, the thoughts, until we wake up and find out we aren't that character we are playing. We aren't that ever-changing situations that we go through, or the thoughts or the emotion that keeps changing. All of the world's problems stem from the delusion of the mind, believing we are a limited character that has a tendency to grasp for what it wants. It's a collection of conditions, patterns going after pleasure and avoiding pain. If we believe we are this character, this conditions pattern, we suffer and we create suffering in the world. The world becomes a reflection of egoic consciousness. So awakening, we suffer less. People around us suffer less. It's like we have been asleep for decades, walking like robots, and we outsmart the game by realizing that none of it is real, that it's all mental and created by our mental mind. And this world is a prison, a confinement, not an actual reality. It is an illusion. It is a game of adversity and survival and what it is to be a limited human. For those not yet awakened, to suffer looks like purgatory. But for those who have already awakened, they see life as a game and can open doors to a piece of heaven amidst the chaos that we go through. We are immortals playing the game of mortality for growth, for experience, and self-transformation. The all is mind and consciousness, and the universe is mental. The all dreams infinite dreams. We enjoy infinite dreams as spirit beings and shape this dream into a lovely, heavenly life, no matter what chaos we might experience. The all is the I am. It is the higher self. It is the quantum self. So the world we see is one of make-believe. It isn't an actual reality. It is made up of illusions designed to keep masses asleep. We outsmart it by doing the opposite of what the media, what our five senses tell us, rather than what we perceive with logic. We are slaves to the five senses. We can't go beyond the solid worldview if we keep ourselves limited by our senses. The five senses of a human are limited, while the spiritual man alive within us is non-local, eternal, everywhere at all times. The spirit man perceives the physical world from a different vantage point. And the sense man is a character in the game of life, while the spiritual man is the one playing the game, knowing that this too will end. The soul, which is you, You are not abandoned to go through the furnaces of affliction. All paths of all the experiences that you go through lead to the same end, no matter what sort of life you are living in this physical, material, solid world. At the end of our life's journey, we will awaken to an insatiable hunger to awaken the spirit within ourselves. And this hunger forces us to know ourselves deeply and the game occurring in the world. And we take the interior journey into our inner hermitage. And we start to see the illusion of this world and begin to feel like all this was a stage, all this was a play and a game. And the absurdity of the world stage frustrates us at first. Then it will make us laugh. And finally, will feel very natural about it. We will realize how much of this is false and made up. We can create a piece of heaven for ourselves in this dark world. We are inherently still and at peace mentally, while collective humanity is still going through a roller coaster. Where do we choose to be? Do we choose to create a piece of heaven for ourselves no matter what we are going through? Or are we going to let ourselves live in the hell of our thoughts and emotions as we continue to see particle and not wave? As we continue to focus our attention on the changing reality instead of the absolute reality that is already within us. By the power of imagination, we can create a wonderful life for ourselves. As we come almost to the end of our presentation, let us look at the key principles of quantum consciousness and the nature of the quantum self. The first principle is quantum non-locality and interconnectedness as far as the quantum self is concerned. And the second principle has to do with superposition. And this suggests that consciousness can exist in multiple states simultaneously, challenging the notions of a singular self. We are not a singular self. The quantum self is the self of oneness. Another principle has to do with the observer effect. Observing a system challenges its behavior. If I continue seeing myself as a limited self, that's what I will always manifest. If I observe myself as a quantum self, this is what I will manifest. As we close, these are the points to note about the quantum self. The quantum self doesn't wait for permission to exist. It does not ask, will life give me this to me? Will life do this for me? No. The quantum self asks only, am I willing to be it right now in the present moment? In the being, that's where the quantum self survives and thrives. The having takes care of itself. We are a human being. We are not a human doing. And we already have everything that we need within us. We don't have to chase for anything. The quantum self isn't waiting in the future. It isn't locked by some grand achievement or mystical initiation. It is available already in the stillness where you stop grasping and start remembering you are the presence. That silent, still place is the doorway into presence, and presence is the soil from which the quantum self emerges. You no longer need to cling or to control because you trust the resonance of being. And this is the essence of awakening to the quantum self, not a ground arrival, but a gentle remembering that the quantum field already holds the version of you that is free, that is abundant, that is radiant, that is at peace, already healed, loved, and successful. So by aligning your sense of self with that version, you collapse it into visibility. It's not about conquest, but surrender. It's not about escape from your human experience, but an embrace of the sacredness of our human experience. It's about embodying the signal of fulfillment so fully that reality has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Because the signal of your Become the signal of your desire by rooting yourself in the now moment. Your desired reality was already here waiting for you to get into that still, silent place within your inner hermitage. You are no longer chasing a future. You are no longer clinging to a past. You are vibrating in the pure frequency of being. The illusion said you are small, separate, and limited. Presence reveals you are vast, connected, and infinite. The awakening of the quantum self isn't a distant call. It is this moment right now, right here, inviting you to remember to stop looking outside and to begin radiating the truth of you already are within your inner hermitage. Return to the presence that has never left, that has always been your true home deep within you. In that return, the search ends and the awakening begins. The quantum self does not chase. It attracts by resonance, and we attract what we have become with what we think, feel, and say. Once you have gotten to this place of stillness, where you are one with everything, you begin to realize that you are already awakened, that you are already the quantum self. As we end, let us ask ourselves this question. If you were to awaken to your quantum self, how different would your life be lived? Write everything down in your journal later this week. And how touched were you by today's topic about the quantum self and how it navigates the waves of reality? Enjoy your evening. Have a blessed night. Namaste. Thank you and blessings.